know if you can hear me, and then Hannah and Daniel, can you check your mics too?
Hello.
Hello.
Let us know if you heard all three of us. People in the room are good. Let's see the stream chat. Okay, stream chat says good. I think we're good to get started.
All right. We finally got everything working. Cool. Okay.
Perfect.
Yep. All right. So thanks everyone for coming out. Are the slides there?
We've
I
got
guess we're
little
starting.
confetti.
Okay.
Little
Yeah. So welcome to the backstage panel, focusing on some of the Clear Coast content that we have to show so far. Again, it's all early stuff, so we're kind of still working through stuff. But yeah, there we go. Now we've got the slides. All right. So welcome to the backstage panel, sketch to screen. Today, Hannah and I will be giving you an in-depth look into the process of creating a new Toon HQ for Clear Coasts. I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm Daniel. I'm a 3D artist on the team. I started playing Toontown in 2007. I believe it was first grade. I've been a team member since August of 2018, and I'm currently studying game design and production at Drexel. And my fun fact, it does not relate to elbows. It relates to my Toontown Online duck tune actually had a slightly different head shape. And when I remade it in Rewritten, I unfortunately didn't see the right head shape. So it's a little bit different, but it's all right.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a concept artist. I started playing Toontown in 2004. I was also in first grade, but I'm a little older. I've been on the TTR team since May of 2021. And my fun fact here, studying animation. My fun fact is I was a winner at the first ToonFest in like 2006 that was at the Disney studio. So that's a costume that my mom, she sewed for me. She took her time with it. She didn't know how to sew. But anyways, and then my prize was this backpack that I brought today.
Oh, perfect. All right, you want to go through the...
Yeah.
So we're basically just going to give a general process breakdown of some of the things we're going to go through in this panel, basically just going through the stages of both concept art and 3D art, and also show some visuals in relation to the Clear Coast Toon HQ.
Yeah, so basically the process that we go through for concept art is we start with our initial idea. We usually get together as a team. We brainstorm, what theme do we want? What do we imagine this looking like? What things do we want to add to it that would be new to the game, that would bring in a fun element for people? And then how do we want to go about creating that, which brings us to our next step, which is gathering some references, because if we don't have references, things can start turning a little wonky. You want to make sure that you're anyway. So we gather pictures, maybe art that inspires us, and we will put it into a Pinterest board of sorts, like a Photoshop doc, and so you can see everything, all of your inspiration, and that helps us generate more ideas, which then goes on to ideation and color design, which is basically just doing multiple sketches, maybe doing some loose colors over it just to see what is the feel that we're going for, what is the the color palettes that we want, just getting our general ideas out. Which after we figure out what we want, we will then go around, we'll do kind of a tie-down sketch and a turnaround that will help our 3D artists figure out, what it's gonna look like in a three-dimensional space. So we'll do the sides and the back. Maybe sometimes we'll do a close-up of a certain element of it if that is a little more difficult. And then after that, we do a polished final concept piece. And then that is it's closer to what you're going to see in-game. Not fully what may be in-game, because there's always usually there's something on the technical side that needs to be changed and stuff, but it's basically what we want to see in-game.
Yeah, so then basically Hannah just ran through the whole concept art process. Once we have that concept, again, as Hannah mentioned, not necessarily fully what will end up in game, but a very good idea for what we want it to look like. So when we take it into 3D art, the first thing we start with is the block out model. So this is basically a rough first pass model to get something in. The goal here is to create something that's quick and efficient, something that we can give to the programmers to put in the game and test it out to see if the scale is right, if there are things we want. This stage usually just has a focus on creating a simple model in a gray box type of stage, and it really just helps get the initial model in there so that we can start implementing whatever content we're creating. So after we have that blockout model, we'll take it to a first pass model, which is basically just refining that model further, taking it from just a simple blocky type of shape to kind of giving more detail to the model, making it more consistent, more visually cohesive, just getting overall a more refined model. But at that point, it's still something that's usually a gray, not really colored, nothing too visually interesting aside from the model itself. So that first pass model is just a more refined blockout model. So then after we have the first pass model, we go to the, I guess, the visualized model, as I refer to it here, which is basically just a model that has a little bit more, a model that has a little more color to it. Basically taking some of the color design and ideation that Hannah was talking about and applying that to the model. So not necessarily fully texturing it, but just taking the model and adding some color to it to get the color scheme and theme right for what we want for that asset. So then you'll see here that there's a couple that are grayed out, and that's basically because everything that's highlighted is the stuff we'll be talking about in the context of the Toon HQ. And everything that's grayed out are part of the process for a model, but will not necessarily be talked about because we are not to that process yet for the HQ specifically. So the optimized model is basically what it sounds like, just a more refined model, more refined visualization, and yeah, just more optimized and more final. And then obviously the final model is mainly just incorporating a model that has actual textures and is something that will actually go into the game. So that's the final asset that will go to production and that you all will see and be able to play on. Oh, right. Yeah, so as a disclaimer, we'll be showcasing new Toon HQ for Clear Coast. However, it is not representative of the final in-game product.
So the first step that we usually go through is gathering references. So for this, we wanted to incorporate a few key elements. It needed to be fun and playful. It needed to remind you of like a day at the beach as a kid. You know, you're like playing with your toys, you're having a good time, it's sunny outside. Because if you notice, all the other playgrounds are loosely based off of, you know, like things that you do as a kid. It's like music, it's like bedtime. So we wanted to incorporate that sort of feeling into it so that it would feel reminiscent of the other playgrounds that are already existing. We wanted to use a lot of bright, saturated, and pastel colors, basically to remind you of a day at the beach. We took a lot of color direction from like the Italian Riviera, which is a lot of like warm pastel colors, like against like very nice, cool teal blues. We also, for this one, if you notice, all of the HQs, they incorporate a piece of headwear because it's the headquarters. So if you notice, you know, the burr is like a little snow hat. This HQ is a fire hat. And so we thought a good one for this one would be one of those really big wide brim sun hats, because it can also incorporate an element of like, you know, like parkouring, where you could like jump up onto it, especially because they're working on making everything, you know, like, I don't know, what do you call it, like parkourable? Yeah. I'm not a technical artist, I don't know the term, but, and then also, we thought it'd be fun to maybe add like some cute little sunglasses on there. So yeah, let's see. Oh, so this not well. It's related to the HQ. It's not the HQ, but this was just a graphic that I made when we were trying to figure out what we wanted our key themes to be, and so we had like a bunch of different ideas. We were like, well, what are some of the motifs we want? Do we want it to be like we had like some different ideas where it was like, like sun and moon, or maybe like some turtle motifs in there, just like very tropical kind of motifs. But it was starting to get a little bit lost because we had all these different ideas crammed in there. So I was saying we should try to pick some one major theme with one minor theme, and you can see how those kind of inform the design. So on that first one there, we were saying the overall theme is the beach, and then the minor one would be turtle, and so you can see how that informs the design of the chair there, where it's like very rounded, almost like the shell of a turtle. The shape of the chair also kind of looks like a shell with like fins going out. And then in the next one, the minor theme would be like a sun and moon, like night and day. And so there is like some radiation going out, like radial rays of the sun. There's very crescented shape language in there, which also, so it like conveys the theme in a very subtle way. And then the other one was sandbox, which is what we ended up going with because it definitely fit with, the other playgrounds of like children's toys and kind of stuff. And so it's very blocky, uneven, almost, like it was like made by a kid. So, next. Okay. And so this is then what we went on to. This one, okay, I have to say this was one of the easiest concepts I did because that initial sketch right there was pretty close to what we ended up going with. So yeah, on the right there was like the quick sketch that I did, and I did a couple different headquarter designs for different themes that we were thinking about. So that also, it was like the first thing that was designed for this new playground, and it definitely helped us build what would this new playground will become. It helped us build like the cornerstones of it. As you can see, it is an upside down pail for the base. There's like a big shovel in there, the sun hat, the glasses, so all the things that were in like the reference. And then I also included some of the different window designs that we were going through. You can see like there's like single pane or like single frame window, multi-frame window, open, closed. The ones below I thought were kind of fun because I added in like, even though it's like a window, it's not underwater, you can see that it's kind of like filled with water almost, like a very toony kind of thing, and there's like the shadow of a fish in there, so. And then it could be also like swapped out with some different things, like one of them is like a little sandbox in the garden box, or just some nice little flowers. And then also for the color design, I wanted to go with something that was a little bit more like limited so that you weren't getting like the entire rainbow in there, which can be a little overwhelming. It can like clash with everything. It like looks a little crazy. So I went with I wanted the major colors to be like a red, yellow, and green, and then like a very deep blue. So then anything in between that ends up being more pastel. So as you can see, there are no like very neon red pinks because it's not included in that like color selection. So all the pinks will be more of like a pastel kind of pink. And then same thing, there's no like neon blues. It's more of like very like cool pastel blues. And so let's see. Okay, and so we went on, we did like a quick turnaround sketch. Daniel was working very fast, so as I was doing this, he was actively like modeling it. So it's a little, I did more of like a very rough sketch here. So yeah, this is just the turnaround. It shows, like how the handle's gonna go behind, like the drooping of the hat so that you can run up the hat. Yeah. And so then this was the final concept here. As you can see, it's like it's very cleaned up. It's rendered. It has kind of like the textures that we want to use probably for the end result. It might change because as we go, we'll like decide maybe we want to change the color. We want to change the design of the door or something. So, but this is basically what Daniel ends up working off of. I also thought it'd be fun to add in like some little binoculars instead of just having like the one eye looking up. This fit a little bit like with the theme of the playground. So, yeah. And then also for the colors, I wanted to avoid like, because it was looking like red, white, and blue, but that's like a whole different theme. So I changed it to be more of like a teal, and then the windows are like an olive green. Yeah.
All right, so we go from that to this. Well, so yeah, we saw the final concept. A wonderful design there. Very, very creative, very consistent with everything. So now we'll go to the blockout model. So as you can see here, it's kind of a disassembled HQ. So on the left, we've got the half of a glasses. And then on the right, we've got the hat that you could see on the HQ. So basically, the process of creating this blockout for me was basically taking a Daisy's Gardens HQ and just like ripping the hat off and then creating these new elements and kind of combining it together. One of the reasons that was something I did was to create a more quick version of it and creating it more consistently with some of the other HQs, because something that's super important with this new HQ is creating consistency between all the Toontown Online HQs. So it made more sense to kind of pull from that in these initial stages for creating the blockout model. So next, this shows like a more first pass model. So on the right, it's kind of like a wireframe that shows the model design a little bit better. You can see it in 3D space. You can also see some of the things that Hannah was talking about the hat and how you can actually climb on that hat. So the Toon on the left is standing on that hat on the HQ, right under the sunglasses, all of which you can see in the concept. So here we have the visualized model, which is essentially a model that, again, not final textures, it's not fully textured, but I would say it's fully colored. So it kind of matches what we want for the concept and gets us a good visual feel in 3D space for what this looks like. So you can see this from a couple different angles. You can see that huge hat element that we incorporated into the HQ with the glasses as well, and all the elements that were in that final concept that Hannah took. And you can also see some elements I was talking about reusing stuff like the gardening shovel, which likely won't be reused in the final assets, but for the visualized model, it's fine to kind of take that and create something that's good for the sake of visualizing what we're going for. So now we've got a quick video showcasing the model. So you'll be able to see here, it's still pretty rough, but you can see that it's definitely there in terms of the colors and the overall scale of things. You can see that little cool bucket strap. And then, yeah, exactly. You can climb on the hat. Collisions is something that, as we're going through our new assets, we definitely want to enhance collisions a lot. So that's something to look out for our other projects as well, like Remastered. We're adding a lot of collisions to a bunch of places to kind of flesh out the environments and make things more interactive and parkour-y, as Hannah mentioned. Yeah, so that pretty much shows what we've got so far for the HQ. So now we're going to take some questions. I don't know how many we're going to get to, but Joey will let us know. And I think while we're doing questions, we'll leave this up.
We can take a few questions up here. We don't have too much time, so we're keeping it to one question per person, but feel free to calmly line up. All right, go for it.
Okay, so for Coastal Clears, so you did show us what the HQ would look like, but like when you're But you're designing this new playground. Is there a chance that you're going to introduce some new clothing options? Like that are like themed to coastal? Because I can imagine like you're doing like a bunch of like beachside or Italian type of, type of clothes that tunes could get, right?
We haven't really started like going on to like the accessories and everything. You're talking about clothing, right? Yeah, that's definitely going to come later down the line. Right now, we're really focusing on getting like the core elements of the playground finished, because that will be like the basis of it, and then probably all the smaller objects and items will start coming in later. Okay. So yeah.
I feel like this is a better question for composers, but how much would you say that the visual design of the playground and the HQ and all that have influenced the music direction? Because, yeah.
Definitely. Although they're not directly related, music and art are definitely share a lot of design goals. So there's definitely some consistency there in terms of the themes that we look at as artists and the themes that composers use when they make the track, such as the one you've been hearing.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sorry.
Can boy tunes wear skirts yet?
I mean, I don't think that's a question for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just want to say, like, the HQ and everything looks amazing. How long have you guys been working on this playground in general? Like, how long, if you can tell me, has the concept been established as like this like beach playground? How long has the general design philosophy been in place, and how long have you guys been working with it?
I would say, what about maybe? Do you want to answer that? Yeah.
So we started thinking about. We decided we were going to do a playground almost immediately after the Sellbot Task Force came out. So we've been talking about it for over a year now. We ended up picking the theme last summer, I believe. So Clear Coast itself, it was decided around last summer, and we've been working on that ever since.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so I know that y'all like bring them on for like the convention itself and the panels, but I was wondering if y'all ever ask like the original creators of Toontown for like help with like concepts and stuff like that.
I haven't. I've never spoken with any of the older concept artists, but I do reference their, like, I look through like the work that they've done and see like what were they thinking about, what was like, I feel like especially for like what we do, we want to think about like what was like the original designer's intentions with that. So that's like we really looked at the playgrounds, like how were they theming this, and what were they trying to incorporate into the designs. So
Yeah, cool, thank you.
Sorry, unfortunately, we only have time for one more question, but just a reminder, we do have our Q&A panel at 1 p.m., so save your questions for that. Make sure to get in line, and we'll answer them then as well.
Okay. So you know how in Donald's Dock they have like the ship that goes around? I was wondering if there's any going to be special features in this playground that you can either talk about or like tease scrapped content for it?
I don't think I can talk about
Yeah,
things,
I don't think we can quite talk about it, but we're definitely, as mentioned in the panel yesterday, we're definitely going to be putting a big focus on interactivity in Clear Coast. So there'll definitely be some new exciting elements and just creative things that are beach related, similar to the HQ with like the upside down bucket, where it's just creative, interactive elements in the playground, like that boat.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't get to that slide.